What's up everyone, Slow 6 back here with another Slow 6 fix video. So I went to autocross yesterday and I realized on my way home that the car was overheating. So not so good. I limped the car home and ended up kind of burbling a little coolant out of the expansion tank, and I did a little diagnosis, and here's what we seem to have found. So we took a look at everything. Ignore me, I'm going to change the plugs to a different point. A little bit of coolant came out there. Obviously, you kind of fear for the worst when this happens. However, seems to be a relatively easy fix. It is actually the radiator fan stopped working. I got the car home. I turned the air conditioning on to see if the fan would come on. It would not. And then it made a completely horrible noise and shot a bunch of smoke everywhere, which was the motor burning up. If you look in your fuse box, this first fuse that goes right here is a 50 amp fuse. I pulled that out. When the smoke happened and the motor burned up, blew up the fuse. So we're going to swap out the fan. I went and picked up this from O'Reilly's. It's just a part store one. I can't find the Motorcraft one anywhere other than Rock Auto, and I need it before next weekend. So here we are. Hopefully this will work fine. Should be a short video. Looks like a pretty easy install. So step one, you're just going to need to pull off this little plastic radiator cover thing. It's just 4 clips. It's easy enough. And then you're going to need to take these 2 nuts, and then there should be one right here for the intercooler tank. And then I think I'll have enough room that I can just kind of lift these and move them out of the way so I can pull the fan out of the top. Alright, so once you move the expansion tanks out of the way, you'll be able to get to the fan. There's a connector here. There's one a little further in down there. And then I think there's only 2 or 4 bolts. I'm not sure if this is going to let me have enough room to get it out, but I think I'll be okay. This one should be fine. So I'm just going to unclip this. Oh, there's my resistor. Pulled the whole thing out. Well, that's fine. I gotta find the bolts. I might look at the new one to see where the bolts are. Alright, so I just pulled the other one out of the box. Looks like that's a bolt hole, and probably right over here. So this should be pretty easy to get to. This is the new one. Looks the same, pretty much. But I will say, mine does not spin anymore. Alright, so yeah, there are 2 8mm bolts on either side. The one right over here is kind of behind the AC compressor line, so it's a little hard to get out. I'm also not sure if I'm going to be able to pull this out with the way these are on here. I really don't want to disconnect them and have to burp the car, but I'm going to see if I can rip it out. So here we go. Yeah, unfortunately, I think those are going to have to come out if I want to be able to get the fan out, which means I'm going to have to burp the car, drain the coolant out. I'm going to try a little bit longer. We'll see what happens. All right, so pro tip, it is not very easy to get out with aftermarket expansion tanks. I ended up crawling underneath the car to help finagle it. I unhooked the upper hose for the supercharger coolant expansion tank, so I can move that out of the way a little bit more. And then basically you have to turn the fan vertically if you can get it, and then yank it out. So there's the old one. There's the new one. Alright, so the old one, the motor's locked up. I can turn the fan, but barely. And that was actually after me breaking it loose with the pry bar. So that's no good. Here's the new one. Woo! Yeah, that's a pretty big difference. Now the real question is, can I get this back in? So basically, if you're taking the fan in or out, which I haven't attempted to put this in yet, but we'll see. You're essentially going to need to turn it vertically, drop it in, and then tilt it this way, and then set it down. There's 3 tabs. There's one here, and there's one down at the bottom that the fan sits in, as well as one at the very bottom of the radiator right here that sets the fan up against the radiator, and the 2 bolts are here. So it's really, really difficult to get it to shove in and out with the limited amount of space you have on these Cobras. Alright, I didn't video the whole thing, but I got it in. And it's a pain in the ass. But I got it in without having to disconnect the coolant system and just the supercharger one without really losing a whole lot of fluid. So that's good. I'm just going to tidy up, reconnect the hoses, and see if she works. Alright, we got it all back together. That sucks, not going to lie. I'm also not going to lie, this right here, this speed clip down here, it fell off. It's not very easy to get back on, and even if I could get it back on, I couldn't get the bolt on, so I zip tied it. Don't tell anyone, but I mean it's pretty sturdy on there. It's not going to fall off or anything, so good enough, I suppose. All right, got the fan installed, changed the oil, changed the plugs, and I turned the AC on, and it seems that the new fan works. So that should be a wrap. I'm gonna go take it for a test drive, make sure everything works okay, but seems all right. All right, so just took the Cobra for a pretty fairly long drive. There is my temp, 195, 194. So the fan should be on. I'm gonna pop the hood, double check here. Yep, she's blowing. Seems to be fixed. Slow 6, fix, out.